Power isn't measured in money or influence, it's measured in military strength. Behind every superpower is an army, navy, and air force built to defend, deter, or dominate. As global tensions rise and alliances shift, who truly holds the upper hand? In today's episode of the Infographics Show, we're revealing the world's top 10 most powerful militaries in 2025. Number 10. Italy is one of NATO's most strategically important partners, perfectly placed to project power and protect the alliance's southern flank across the central and eastern Mediterranean. Even though it's not a nuclear power, it still benefits from NATO's nuclear sharing program, with about 35 U.S. B-61 nuclear gravity bombs stationed at Aviano Air Base and Getty Air Base. Italy also has the smallest defense budget out of our top 10 and is expected to spend an estimated $30 billion on defense in 2025, around 1.3% of its GDP. However, with Italy and other NATO members pledging to boost defense spending to 5% of GDP by 2035 and its reputation for a highly modern military, that number is expected to rise significantly. In terms of manpower, Italy fields a relatively modest force in comparison to some of the forces coming up later in our list, around 165,000 active duty personnel, with a further 18,000 in reserve. Despite their smaller numbers, Italian troops are known for being exceptionally well trained by NATO standards, and unsurprisingly for having the best food in the world's armies. It is Italy, after all. More importantly, they're equipped with high-end gear. Italian troops carry the Italian-made Beretta ARX-160 modular multi-caliber assault rifle, a modern PAS GT helmet with built-in comms and night vision, and modular tactical vests or MTV. The MTV features scalable protection, letting soldiers adjust their armor levels depending on the mission's demands. These forces are backed by a powerful array of equipment and weaponry across land, sea, and air. Italy's ground forces are led by roughly 200 Ariete main battle tanks, backed by Centauro II wheeled tanks and Freccia infantry fighting vehicles, all homegrown designs. Its artillery lineup also leans heavily on domestic systems like the OTO Melara M56 105mm pack howitzer, widely exported abroad, and the Phyros 30 multiple launch rocket system, or MLRS. The Air Force is stocked with modern fighters like the US-made F-35 Lightning II, Eurofighter Typhoons, Mangusta attack helicopters, and a growing drone program. But arguably, the strongest component of Italy's forces is its navy. Italy commands a true blue water navy, capable of conducting complex missions far beyond its shores. At its core is the Cavour light aircraft carrier, supported by 3 San Giorgio-class and Trieste-class amphibious assault ships, and a mix of Horizon-class destroyers. There's also multi-purpose frigates and Todaro-class attack submarines. Although Italy's defense system has some shortcomings, particularly in air defenses, the military is actively working to address these issues. As a result, Italy is likely to maintain its position in the top 10 for many years. The next nation on our list is also a non-nuclear NATO member whose primary interests extend into the eastern Mediterranean. Number 9. Like Italy, Turkey also makes many of its own weapons, such as drones, tanks, and missiles. It also falls under the protection of NATO's nuclear umbrella, with an estimated 20 B-61 nuclear bombs housed at Incirlik Air Base. Turkey holds a crucial strategic position, controlling the vital Bosphorus and Dardanelles Straits and projecting power across the Middle East, the Caucasus, and North Africa. It has one of the largest forces in NATO, with approximately 360,000 active personnel and 380,000 in reserve. Its estimated $25 billion in defense spending in 2025 is a third less than Italy's, but at around 1.67% of GDP, it represents a greater share. More importantly, aside from Russia and Ukraine, Turkey probably has the most real combat experience of any major military in recent years. Its forces have been active in long-running operations in Iraq and Syria, as well as combat and training missions in Libya, Ethiopia, and Somalia. Turkey operates 4 military bases abroad and over 100 special operations sites worldwide, reinforcing its ability to project power externally. Most are in Syria and Iraq, but Turkey also maintains a presence in Kosovo, Albania, Cyprus, and Qatar, among others. This combat experience, paired with rigorous training and a strong emphasis on marksmanship and physical fitness, makes Turkish infantry units some of the most capable in NATO. That combat experience has also fueled the rapid growth of Turkey's domestic defense industry, with the government targeting 80% self-sufficiency in military production by the end of 2025. The sector produces a wide array of advanced systems, from missiles and electronic warfare systems to naval platforms, That brings down costs, reduces the reliance on overseas suppliers, and has turned Turkey into one of the world's leading defense exporters. Among these weapon systems are the Bayraktar TB2 drone, the TCG Anadolu amphibious assault ship, and the domestically developed Altay main battle tank. Turkey's also developing a fifth-generation fighter jet, the TFX, and has invested heavily in missile technology such as the Som-J cruise missile and the long-range Atmaka and Typhoon missiles. Turkey is also acknowledged as one of the world's leaders in military drone technology. Of course, foreign weapon systems still form a large part of Turkey's arsenal. Turkey's air power is built around 238 F-16 Fighting Falcons, forming the backbone of its nearly 1,100-strong air force. However, much of its fleet, especially its 215-ship navy, is aging and in need of modernization. That process is well underway, with most upgrades now coming from Turkey's rapidly advancing domestic defense industry. The Turkish National Ship Project has already delivered the Ada-class corvettes and the larger, more capable Istif-class frigates equipped with Turkish missiles. And the advanced TF-2000 air defense destroyer is nearing delivery. Given the pace of development of Turkey's defense industry and the NATO commitment to increase defense spending to 5% of GDP by 2035, should see Turkey becoming even more powerful in the coming decade. Number 8. After World War II, Japan renounced war and banned traditional armed forces in its 1947 constitution. Since then, the Japanese military, officially known as the Self-Defense Forces, or JSDF, has avoided offensive weaponry such as nuclear weapons and intercontinental ballistic missiles. But that hasn't stopped it from assembling one of the most powerful defenses on the planet. And those capabilities are set to grow even further under an ambitious 5-year modernization plan launched in 2024, which includes new long-range missile systems. At around $55 billion, Japan's defense spending is greater than Turkey and Italy combined. Still, that's only around 1.3% of their GDP. The plan to increase spending by 2% will lift Japan to becoming one of the biggest spenders in the world. With such a heavy focus on defense and a primary threat from North Korea's ballistic missiles, one of the standout features of Japan's military is its sophisticated air defense systems. The Air Self-Defense Force is equipped with state-of-the-art US-made Patriot PAC-3 units to counter missile threats, particularly from Pyongyang, but also from China. These are supported by a network of ground-based radar and airborne early warning aircraft, giving Japan continuous surveillance and situational awareness. The Air Force has over 1,400 planes, spearheaded by 38 F-35s, with a further 108 ordered. It's one of the biggest F-35 fleets outside of the US. Its 199 legacy F-15s are also undergoing significant upgrades to their electronics and weapons capabilities. On the ground, Japan's well-trained and equipped 247,000 personnel and 56,000 reserves reap the benefits of the nation's large budgets and technological prowess. They're equipped with advanced tanks like the Type 10 and the Type 16 mobile combat vehicle, and a growing arsenal of drones and autonomous technology. But being an island chain with a focus on defense, Japan's ground forces are naturally geared toward repelling invasion. The Navy, or Maritime Self-Defense Force, has greater destructive capabilities. This is a technologically advanced, modern, and diverse naval force of 154 ships. Arguably the most powerful are the 6 Atago and Kongo-class guided missile destroyers, equipped with Aegis combat systems and capable of taking on air, surface, and submarine threats alike. The Izumo-class helicopter destroyers are essentially small aircraft carriers, but they also enable power projection way beyond their primary role of anti-submarine warfare. Japan's 25 submarines are also an integral part of its naval capabilities, with its 12 Soryu-class submarines considered to be among the most advanced diesel-electric submarines in the world. However, beyond its technological and economic strength, Japan's real advantage lies in its deep military partnership with the United States. Over 50,000 U.S. troops are stationed across bases in Japan, along with some of America's most advanced weapons, making the two nations practically inseparable on the battlefield. Together, they provide a security umbrella unmatched anywhere in the world. Our next nation has the most powerful military in the EU. Number 7. The French military is characterized by its emphasis on quality, precision, and strategic autonomy, rather than sheer size and mass. The so-called French way of war prioritizes carefully calibrated, small-scale, and highly lethal operations, often conducted behind the scenes and with minimal footprint. That said, few nations are better equipped for global operations than France, supported by 7 overseas bases in Jordan, the UAE, Djibouti, and Gabon. It also maintains a wide network of military installations across its remaining overseas territories, including French Guiana, Reunion Island, and key Pacific outposts like French Polynesia and New Caledonia. This global reach, backed by a blue water navy and a powerful nuclear deterrent, cements France's position as a top-tier military power. Its army has around 200,000 active personnel and around 26,000 in reserve. A key component of these forces is the famed French Foreign Legion, composed of 9,600 personnel and more than 150 nationalities. France currently spends around $64 billion on defense, just over 2% of GDP. However, like the other European NATO members, France has committed to increasing that spending within a decade. And like the other nations on our list so far, France is already engaged in a major modernization of its forces. In line with France's doctrine of strategic autonomy, much of the French military gear is produced domestically. Of the Air Force's 968 aircraft, 767, about 79%, are French-made. Leading the fleet are the 5th-generation Dassault Rafale multi-role fighters and upgraded Mirage 2000 ground attack jets. The French Air and Space Force also operates a network of intelligence and communication satellites and is responsible for France's estimated 290 nuclear weapons. The French Navy is relatively modest in size, with only about 133 ships in total, but it makes up for it with the power and quality of these ships. They include 1 aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, 3 modern Mistral-class helicopter carriers, and 9 attack submarines. This includes 3 nuclear-capable Suffren-class subs built in the 2020s, along with destroyers, frigates, and anti-mine warfare ships. These already potent forces are in the process of receiving a serious upgrade, including the Scorpion program. This massive modernization effort is overhauling the Army's armored fleet with new platforms like the Griffin, Jaguar, and Serval, all linked through an integrated combat information system. At the same time, France is expanding its space and cyber warfare capabilities and building a new generation nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. It's also advancing its nuclear arsenal with the ASN-4G hypersonic missile and M51 submarine-launched ballistic missile. Add it all up, and France should remain one of the world's most accomplished and potent military powers for the foreseeable future. Now for the second nuclear power on our list. Number 6. A century and a half ago, the British Empire had the mightiest army in the world, which helped it to control around a quarter of the planet. At its peak in World War I, the British military had around 4 million men. Today, that number has shrunk considerably, around 185,000 active personnel and a further 924,000 in reserve. Reversing a decades-long trend of shrinking recruitment is one of the major challenges facing the UK's top brass, as is the modernization of its forces. But the UK has embraced the challenge. The government's defense strategy, unveiled in June 2025, marks a major shift in priorities. It emphasizes a NATO-first approach and a renewed focus on war-fighting readiness. The plan also highlights investment in advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence, drones, and long-range weapons, to boost the lethality and overall combat effectiveness. The strategy includes plans for a 10 times more lethal army, a next-generation Royal Air Force with F-35 and Typhoon jets, and a hybrid Royal Navy capable of patrolling the North Atlantic and beyond. To fund this major overhaul of its forces, the UK intends to increase its current defense spending of almost $82 billion, around 2.3% of GDP. It plans to spend around $237 billion over the next decade, including building at least 6 new munitions factories, acquiring up to 7,000 long-range weapons, and developing world-leading drone capabilities and artificial intelligence. That's not to suggest that the UK doesn't already field a highly capable and fearsome military. To start with, it has an estimated 225 nuclear warheads, which can be launched from its 4 Vanguard-class nuclear ballistic submarines. The Navy's 80 ships also include 2 modern Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers and 5 Astute-class fleet submarines, which entered service between 2010 and 2022. The Air Force's fleet of 631 aircraft is led by 31 F-35Bs and 113 Eurofighter Typhoons, which can be launched from the aircraft carriers. Like France, the UK's former empire has left it with an extended network of bases around the world. In the case of the UK, approximately 117. These extend from Antarctica and the Falkland Islands in the South Atlantic to the Caribbean, across Africa and the Middle East, and all the way to the Indo-Pacific and Eastern Europe. That's the second largest number of overseas bases of any nation and gives the UK almost unparalleled global reach. Moreover, the UK's Special Forces, the SAS, and intelligence agencies MI5 and MI6 remain some of the best in the business. They are deeply involved in hybrid war operations around the world. The UK's global influence is reinforced by its powerful media, respected think tanks, and extensive diplomatic network, including participation in the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance. Together, these make Britain one of the most influential nations on the earth, despite its size. And like Japan, a cornerstone of its military strength lies in its special relationship with the US. Number 5. Like Japan, South Korea's military is primarily focused on countering the threat from North Korea. Unlike Japan, however, South Korea's military gives significant focus to offensive as well as defensive capabilities. South Korea's military stands out for its cutting-edge technology, strong domestic defense industry, and large, highly equipped fighting force. Nearly 80% of its arms are now purchased domestically, including combat aircraft, main battle tanks, armored vehicles, warships, submarines, and missile systems. South Korean weapons are often seen as on par with or even superior to their Western equivalents. Standouts include the K-2 Black Panther main battle tank, the K-9 Thunder self-propelled howitzer, and the KF-21 Borame 4.5 generation fighter jet, which entered mass production in 2024. The K-9 Thunder alone dominates its class, holding a 52% share of the global self-propelled howitzer market and serving in several NATO countries, including Estonia, Finland, Norway, Poland, and Turkey. Although it has long had the technical capabilities to produce nuclear weapons, the nation has chosen not to. However, while South Korea doesn't host any U.S. nuclear weapons on its soil, it remains protected under the American nuclear umbrella. South Korea maintains the 5th largest standing army globally with approximately 600,000 active personnel and a reserve force of around 3.1 million. It also possesses the 2nd largest artillery force in the world with 12,100 artillery pieces. South Korea's navy, with 155 ships, is larger than that of any European NATO country except the UK and France. Its fleet includes advanced amphibious assault ships and 22 submarines. The Korean Air Force is equally formidable, fielding almost 1,600 active aircraft such as the F-35A stealth fighters, F-15K Slam Eagles, and F-A-50 light fighters. With a defense spending budget of around $48 billion in 2024, South Korea is spending around 2.6% of its GDP on defense, one of the highest percentages in the top 10. That said, like every other nation on our list, South Korea is also undergoing rapid modernization. It has plans to buy aircraft carriers and nuclear-powered submarines, alongside the deployment of advanced destroyers equipped with the Aegis combat system. South Korea is actively strengthening its security ties with regional and global partners, including Australia and the Southeast Asian nations comprising the group ASEAN. That, combined with the continued modernization of an already technologically advanced military, should see South Korea remain a force to be reckoned with heading into the future. Number 4. It's not necessarily a name one normally associates with military power, but India has ranked number 4 in the global firepower rankings since 2006. It possesses a large and well-equipped force across all branches, with a strong emphasis on logistics, manpower, and technological advancement. India is one of only 9 nations with nuclear weapons, maintaining an estimated 180 warheads. It possesses a full nuclear triad, land-based ICBMs, air-launch delivery systems, and submarine-based ballistic missiles. This ensures it can strike from land, air, or sea if ever threatened. India's armed forces are the world's 2nd largest by active personnel, with over 1.4 million soldiers, sailors, and airmen, backed by a significant reserve of 1.15 million. The Army's land power centers on its large fleet of over 4,000 tanks, including the T-90 Bhishma and Arjun tanks, and artillery systems like Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launchers. India's Air Force fields roughly 2,200 aircraft, including Russian Su-30 Mark I fighters, French Rafales, and the Tejas, a mix of imported and homegrown technology. These carriers are backed by 11 modern multi-role destroyers, including the Visakhapatnam class, also known as Project 15B, and 12 frigates like the new Nilgiri class. India's undersea fleet includes 18 submarines, among them the French-designed Kalvari class, or Project 75, diesel-electric subs soon to be upgraded with air-independent propulsion systems to boost stealth and endurance. Historically, India was a major importer of weapons, particularly from Russia. They possess military hardware ranging from antiquated Soviet gear to modern S-400 air defense systems. However, in recent years, there's been a strong Made in India push to develop a self-reliant defense industry. In this regard, India has embarked on a massive shipbuilding program, which aims to field a fleet of 175 to 200 warships by 2035. This ambitious plan includes next-generation destroyers, frigates, corvettes, and mine countermeasure vessels, with an emphasis on ocean-going blue water vessels capable of sustained expeditionary operations. This focus on readiness for expeditionary missions is complemented by India's network of 20 overseas military bases. These stretch across Asia, including bases in Bhutan, Nepal, Tajikistan, Singapore, and Sri Lanka. India also has bases further south in the Indian Ocean on the islands of the Maldives, Mauritius, Madagascar, and the Seychelles. India is actively developing cyber warfare, space assets, and advanced surveillance capabilities as part of its rapid modernization efforts. There is no sign that India's military development will slow down anytime soon, especially given the rapid development of its two main threats. They are Pakistan, India's nuclear-powered neighbor and longtime antagonist, and to a lesser extent, the nation that sits number 3 on our list. Number 3. The transformation of the Chinese military, officially known as the People's Liberation Army, or PLA for short, over the past half a century has been nothing short of spectacular. Before the economic reforms implemented by Deng Xiaoping in 1978, China was one of the poorest countries in the world, with a massive but poorly equipped and technologically inferior military. Since then, 800 million people have been lifted out of poverty, according to the World Bank. While its military is widely ranked as the third most powerful in the world, some would argue it now deserves the number 2 spot. China now boasts the third largest nuclear arsenal in the world, hitting 600 warheads in 2025, a twofold increase in just 6 years. It's been estimated that at this rate, China's stockpile will grow to over 1,000 by 2030. Most of these warheads are newly built and highly advanced, and China maintains a fully modern nuclear triad, with air, land, and sea-based platforms capable of delivering them. The PLA is the world's largest standing army, with 2 million active personnel and a further 500,000 in reserve. It also has the second highest defense spending in the world, estimated to be over $318 billion in 2024. That's only around 1.7% of GDP, but still obviously more than enough to engage in an eye-watering ongoing buildup of power. This military boom has been, and continues to be, fueled by China's unrivaled manufacturing and industrial capacity as the world's factory. Over the years, China's output has added plenty of quality to the outrageous quantity of goods it produces. As a result, today China is among the leading nations in producing advanced technology like chips, semiconductors, and nanotechnology. And this technological prowess has translated into the development of advanced weaponry. A prime example is the PLA rocket force, which fields the world's largest arsenal of ground-based missiles, both conventional and dual-capable, and continues to expand its range and sophistication. China possesses roughly 1,400 ballistic missiles and hundreds of cruise missiles, with improved accuracy enabling precision strikes against regional targets. The PLA has built powerful space, cyber, and electronic warfare capabilities under its Strategic Support Force. More recently, it's created an Information Support Force to advance data processing, AI-driven analysis, and cognitive domain operations, signaling China's move toward what it calls intelligentized warfare. The technological advancements can also be easily observed across the PLA's Air Force, Navy, and ground forces. It has over 3,100 active aircraft in service, which are rapidly being upgraded to stealth-enabled J-10, J-15, and J-20 fighters. These are supplemented by drone capabilities that are developing at a jaw-dropping rate. In March 2024, China unveiled swarming drones that can split into 2, 3, or even 6 smaller drones, depending on battlefield requirements, all in a matter of seconds. With almost 1,000 active ships, the PLA's Navy is now the largest in the world, while the country itself has a total shipbuilding capacity already 230 times larger than the US. The gap between it and its rivals is only likely to grow further. The fleet includes 3 aircraft carriers and the Fighting Shark No. 1 UAV mothership, basically an aircraft carrier for drones, along with dozens of guided missile corvettes and destroyers. It also has 73 submarines, including 6 modern Jin-class nuclear ballistic missile submarines and a further 6 Shang-class nuclear attack submarines. With China's military expanding rapidly in both size and capability, it is no wonder the West and much of the Indo-Pacific views its rise with growing concern. Still, there are 2 major disadvantages the PLA has yet to overcome. First, China's forces aren't yet built for true expeditionary warfare beyond the Indo-Pacific. At the moment, smaller militaries, like those of the UK, France, or India, would likely outperform the PLA in long-distance operations far from home. Secondly, besides a few skirmishes along the Indian border and the occasional run-in between the PLA and Philippine navies, the PLA has not seen meaningful combat action since the late 1970s. By contrast, the nation at number 2 on our list has been involved in the biggest conflict on European soil since World War II. For nearly 4 years, the ongoing war in Ukraine. Number 2. Russia's experiences in Ukraine since it invaded its neighbor in February 2022 make it by far the most experienced military in the world today, especially when it comes to offensive operations. Aside from 2 major Ukrainian counteroffensives in 2022 and 2023, and incursions into Russia's Kursk region in 2023 and 2024, Russia has largely remained on the offensive while Ukraine has been forced into a defensive posture. Russia has lost huge quantities of equipment and men during the war, but it also has geared up its military-industrial complex in a major way. It has upgraded many of its core weapon systems, developed new tactics, and introduced a host of new advanced weaponry, like the Oreshnik hypersonic multi-warhead ballistic missile system. That said, the core of Russia's military power remains its nuclear forces. Its stockpile of nearly 5,500 warheads, with 1,700 deployed, is the largest in the world. Russia is also one of only 3 powers to have a full nuclear triad, including strategic bombers from which to launch them. According to Russian President Vladimir Putin, by February 2024, 95% of Russia's strategic nuclear forces had been modernized, and the Air Force had just taken delivery of 4 new supersonic nuclear-capable bombers. Russia's ground forces remain among the largest in the world, with a standing army of around 1.3 million and a further 2 million in reserve. Russia's military spending of $149 billion in 2024 hit 7% of GDP, much higher than any other nation in our top 10. Despite estimated losses of over 3,000 tanks in Ukraine, Russia still possesses a massive fleet of almost 13,000 tanks. Many of these are older Soviet-era tanks like the T-80, but they are increasingly being supplemented with the new T-72M and T-90M Proryev models. These include modern features like electronic warfare, networked communications, and plenty of counter-drone protection. Russia's experiences during the war have also led to a massive uptick in the quantity and quality of its drone, missile, air defense, and electronic warfare capabilities. Russia now produces drones and missiles at scale, launching hundreds a day at Ukraine, and even converting thousands of Soviet-era FAB glide bombs into a form of precision missile. Russia's drones and missiles are becoming increasingly lethal. Recent upgrades have made them far harder to intercept, with reports suggesting Ukraine's Patriot systems now shoot down only about 6%, compared to nearly 40% just months ago. Russia also has a massive air force of around 4,300 active aircraft, including an increasing number of modern Su-57 and modernized Su-34s. Its navy is made up of 420 ships, including 1 aging aircraft carrier and 3 Yasin-class modern nuclear-powered and armed stealth submarines. It also has a dense, layered air defense system and electronic warfare capabilities that Ukrainian drone operators acknowledge as world-leading. It's easy to think that after all its struggles in Ukraine and mounting economic strain from sanctions, Russia is a fading power. But history shows it's never wise to count Russia out. With its massive nuclear arsenal, enormous industrial war machine, and battle-hardened forces, it still stands as the world's second most powerful military. Which brings us now to the most powerful military in the world, and you probably guessed who it is by now. Number 1. The US military is the most powerful and advanced in the world. With unmatched global reach, technological superiority, and extensive logistical capabilities, its dominance comes from unmatched funding, cutting-edge technology, global reach, and a vast network of allies. These strengths allow rapid deployment and sustained combat operations in virtually any environment. In short, the US military can project power anywhere on Earth, and no other nation even comes close to matching that capability. The US military spending in 2025 will amount to just under $1 trillion, around 3 times as much as China. That's around 3.4% of GDP, higher than any other nation on our list, barring Russia, which is at war. The total active duty force consists of approximately 1.3 million personnel, with roughly 800,000 in reserve. Large numbers of U.S. forces and advanced weaponry are deployed at roughly 877 bases worldwide, many in Japan, South Korea, and across NATO territory. This gives the U.S. unmatched global reach. Ground troops are supported by the most powerful tanks, armor, artillery, and other ground systems in the world. These include the M1 Abrams main battle tank and Bradley infantry fighting vehicle, to name just two of a mind-boggling array. The U.S. also fields by far the largest air force in the world, which is also the most technologically advanced. Its fleet of around 13,000 active aircraft includes 384 of the 5th-generation F-35 Lightning IIs, with a further 1,350 in production. It also includes over 800 modernized F-16s and 300 F-15s. The U.S. also supports a massive fleet of 1,500 transport aircraft, giving it the ability to deploy troops and equipment almost anywhere on short notice. At the same time, it's rapidly expanding its drone forces across every size and mission type. It's also developing advanced systems to integrate them seamlessly into networked operations alongside other weapons platforms. The U.S. Navy may be smaller than China's in terms of numbers, but it still leads in terms of overall tonnage, destructive power, and force projection. Highlights include 11 aircraft carriers, 69 submarines, including 16 nuclear-powered and armed Ohio-class subs, and then there's the 74 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. The U.S. also maintains the world's largest and most advanced satellite and surveillance network, supported by the CIA, an intelligence agency with a footprint in nearly every nation on Earth. This gives Washington an unmatched global intelligence reach, one that many of its allies in NATO, Five Eyes, and AUKUS rely heavily on. Through its ownership of most of the world's dominant media and social networks, the U.S. can also influence and project soft power like no one else, and it's been leveraging this power for decades. Like all the other nations on this list, the U.S. is also undergoing rapid modernization, notably the Air Force's One Force Design Initiative. This aims to create a more lethal and resilient force by integrating 5 core functions: air superiority, global precision attack, rapid global mobility, global intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, or ISR, and command and control. And let's not forget the U.S.'s nuclear forces, which can stand toe-to-toe with Russia's. The U.S. has almost 5,300 warheads, of which close to 1,800 are deployed. A nuclear triad consisting of the Ohio-class submarines, silo-based ground launchers, and a fleet of 72 B-52H, 40 B-1B, and 18 B-2 bombers can launch those weapons from practically anywhere. The forthcoming high-stealth 6th-generation B-21 Spirit will only add to that power. Put it all together and it's hard to see how anyone will ever be able to knock the U.S. off its perch or even be stupid enough to take the U.S. on. The U.S. may still have the most powerful military on the planet, but Beijing is arming itself for the day that balance shifts. Watch Can China Defend from a U.S. Invasion to see how prepared they really are, or click on this video instead.